Hello, this is Blue Star, defender of Equestria. This is my next focus on / analysis, looking in the background to seeing if there's anything interesting video. This time, the Lighthouse. So welcome to the cockpit of my lovely spaceship, the Morning Star, and get this lovely view of Maritime Bay. Hopefully, they'll fix the lighthouse soon. Yes, it is definitely fun to go through, you know, like the backgrounds and everything, and see if there's anything interesting. I mean, sure, this is pretty much just Sonny's home, but it's still gonna be interesting to take a closer look anyway. So, yeah, starting actually from the exterior of this lighthouse, it's like, it's like interesting. I mean, I'd almost like to live here. Somewhat it's a classic kind of like lighthouse design. One thing I did notice going back to this, like, she has a lot of plants. You know, like there's plants on like the outside and the front and all those things. Like, interesting. So now let's not only move into the lighthouse, but also into the past. And we're gonna start with our first few shots of what I'm gonna call rgyles' work area. Yeah, it's like Twilight Sparkle, Rainbow Dashes, Cutie Marks, and a drawing of Twilight. I know that this is supposed to be referencing something, but frankly, I don't know what it is. I think the most significant thing in this particular screenshot is this feather in like the glass jar. Is this supposed to be one of Twilight's feathers? It's kind of creepy, actually. The idea that this is actually like one of Twilight's feathers is like, after all this time, it's kind of creepy, but that's still kind of cool though. Yes, and in this screenshot we also get the first glimpse of the map of ancient Equestria. Hi Celestia, I feel so old now. Oh well. So yeah, so now here is the map of quote-unquote ancient Equestria, and yeah, obviously, being Bronies, we're fairly familiar with this map. But yeah, it's like there's in some ways nothing too surprising here other than these post-it notes of each of the main six's cutie marks. And in some ways, it's actually kind of interesting to see, you know, a map like this, seeing where the castle is in reference to Ponyville. And so for the Bronies, this is kind of significant, but for the new fans, probably gonna gloss over this, especially since Maritime Bay is obviously not here. So if you're going back and watching this again, you're gonna be kind of confused. It's like, this isn't where we are. Oh yes, another interesting thing here is that there's like a picture of the box from season 4. So, there's also something kind of in the corner. I wonder what that could be. And as we zoom out, we can see, oh, it's Argyle working on the lantern. As a fellow maker, I can understand this, you know, sitting in your work area and working on things and painting things by hand. It's like, aw. And I think it's so nice that he's spending all this time to make this lantern thing for his daughter. Now looking at some of the other things in this room, it's like this thing that looks like a rock. It almost looks like it could be like one of Spike's like paw prints or claw prints or whatever you want to call it. So, pull back a little bit more, we get to see almost the whole map. Yeah, like Cloudsdale's there. Thing that kind of looked like a bell before, and wait a minute. Is that Grogar's bell? The horror! That is legitimately terrifying. My first thoughts are, oh my gosh, it's Grogar's bell. This is one of the most powerful magical artifacts like ever. The supervillains use this to almost completely overthrow the whole of Equestria. And the fact that it's just sitting on a stack of books in his work area is terrifying. This would be like having a nuclear warhead in your workroom without even realizing it. I must admit, this is probably one of the most significant things in the whole of this lighthouse. But even so, there is a possibility of maybe this is like a replica, or possibly that he actually does know what this is. But yeah, but otherwise, yeah, there's actually some kind of interesting things here. Again, it looks like there's almost like a mask thing on the wall. There's a portrait of Star Swirled the Bearded. I definitely like this little work area thing, and it's kind of cool. And I almost want to do a whole separate video on like Argyle and like why and how is he like researching the main six, and how does he know all these things about the main six when the rest of Equestria has almost like forgotten them. So that's why this is all interesting, because he's obviously actively searching these things out and trying to figure this out and find those things. It isn't just like, oh, I heard about the main six. No, he's researching them and potentially has one of Twilight Sparkle's very own feathers as part of like his collection of objects. So the truth is out there, Bronies. Anyway, moving on. Aw, poor Sonny. I do like this shot for two reasons, because we get to see across the room over towards the kitchen area, but more importantly, this elevator, which I just love. I love the idea of this elevator. it's unfortunately kind of in a slightly unfortunate spot that it basically looks like it's in the center of like the floor plans. And I have this image of just like, oh, hi, our girl. How are you doing? Hey, what's that sound? Ah! Oh no, I am flat. With modern technology, I'm sure there's like sensors and stuff to prevent that from happening. But yeah, if you happen to be standing where this elevator is, yeah, you could literally have an elevator come on top of you and that would not be a good day. Yeah, as far as the kitchen goes, it's kind of interesting because it's sort of a mix of sort of old and new technology. It's like we have like refrigerators, but old time like cooking stoves. I honestly can't remember if we had like refrigerators in Friendship is Magic or not. I think we might have. But we see electric lighting and all these sorts of sort of things. But at the same time, this isn't a super crazy modern kitchen either, which I think kind of fits in with the sort of old-timey lighthouse thing. So, anyway, moving on. There was two amusing things here, even though it doesn't really view the lighthouse all that much, is that, yeah, there's like that whiteboard over on the wall. There's like this chart. I unfortunately forgot what kind of chart it's called. But yeah, it's like the 3-circle chart. There's like EUP, and they all come together in the middle. It's like, you know, obviously supposed to be like Earth Pony, Unicorns, and Pegasi. Aw. And also, there's a picture of Argyle and Sunny in this picture, and like a giant heart. It's like, aw, that's nice. The second thing that's amusing about this is that, you know, after showing, it's like, unicorn cupcake, freshly baked. Sprout is like, oh, I want a cupcake. Although I know this dialogue doesn't have anything to do with this expression is perfect. It's like, no, dear, you can't have one of those cupcakes. But mommy, I really want one. It's a kid's show. You can't say no to cupcakes. Unfortunately, this is not quite so amusing. It's like, it makes me sad. It's like, poor Argyle. We shall miss you. I think this is a fitting tribute that this is still in kind of like in that little work area, and aw, she kept the spectacles and like the medallion thing with like a Twilight Sparkles cutie bark on it, and a pretty nice picture of him too. And again, he's like working, I think, on one of the main 6 figurines. So a fitting tribute. Again, we shall miss you. I really hope we get to see Argyle again in like flashbacks or something, because I really liked him. He was so cool and he was a great dad. So, roar. So now we are moving into the future with Sunny actually grown up. And this is actually a pretty good picture of this room. I kind of like how a lot of the furniture and the tables are not actually pushed up against the wall like perfectly. And like the chest is like not like perfectly in the middle. Like, parts of me almost want to feel like this is slightly revealing of her character and that she never likes to do things like perfectly or the same way that anybody else does. But nah, that's just me just overthinking that. And I'm pretty sure if I took a shot of my room, I probably would find out that, yeah, oh no, things are not pushed up against the wall perfectly. But anyway, yeah, but there's lots of interesting thing here. Again, more plants. A poster of Rainbow Dash's cutie mark, some dream catchers, obviously the lantern, the main 6's figurines, her journal, which is just happened to be just laying on like her blanket. I find this like mini piano thing kind of strange. It's like, why? Oh yeah, there's Sunny's bag over on like this like peg thing, and it almost looks like a bandana on it next to it. And so overall, it's you know, not too revealing, but still interesting. Poor Sunny. When ponies have bad hair days, man, they have bad hair days. But anyway, yeah, some things that are kind of interesting here. It's like, at first I thought when I saw this like rainbow thing with the clouds, I almost thought, is that Argyle's cutie mark? But no, his cutie mark was kind of like a star with a rainbow coming out of it. And some like pictures of Sunny and her dad, especially when they were drawn when they were very young. So, interesting. There's a lot of stars and rainbows going on here, which I guess in some ways kind of makes sense, because kind of a representation of her cutie mark and her dad is that, yeah, stars and like rainbows, those sorts of things are kind of reminiscent of them. Her name is in fact Sunny Star Scout. It looks like there's a lot of pictures of her and her dad that they made or she made when she was like really young, which I guess makes a lot of sense for her. Those were the good times for her. So now we move up into the lantern of the lighthouse. It's like, I did just a tiny little bit of research, and that the whole top section where like the light and everything, it's just simply called the lantern. It's like, it is kind of surprising to me they've turned the lantern into almost like this little like work area. Then again, who knows if this lighthouse is actually operating as a lighthouse and isn't just simply just a house, particularly because she's plastered the stuff all over the glass that I'm gonna say it's probably not. Again, more plants. There's a lot of plants going around, you know, here. So I must admit there's not too many exciting, interesting things here, other than this, like, thing that I don't know what it is. It kind of looks like constellations to me. It's kind of interesting because this also appears in a page in Sunny's journals, so it's probably important in some way. Ooh, wait a minute. That looks like the memory stone from Forgotten Friendship from one of the Equestria Girls specials, so... interesting. Apparently somebody didn't forget, so Is there like a map of like Maritime Bay or something? Unfortunately, none of these screenshots are high enough resolution to really read these things really well. This is actually a good shot of like this board. There's some sort of interesting pictures here. I kind of like the one with the heart. Unicorn plus Pegasi plus Earth Ponies equals love. Aw, how nice. Magic is real. I think the thing that I can only comfortably really look at and really understand is like this thing that looks like a blueprint. This looks like this is the layout of Cantor Logic. So like this is how she plans to sneak in and like Moving back down into like the living room of the lighthouse. There's a few interesting things here. This basket, it almost kind of looks like sort of the thing you put your clothes in when you're like when you wash them, but it's like she doesn't really wear clothes, so oh look, there's her helmet and like her rollerblades. Like, oh, they're on like a peg and they're just sitting on the floor. Being a fellow blader, I kind of understand that, so yeah, a girl after my own heart. Moving over here now, it's like, yeah, this telescope. It's kind of a very odd-looking telescope, to be honest, but interesting. When you think about it, it would have made more sense to have had the telescope up in the lantern, but still, obviously, it made a great joke with Izzy later. There's a picture over here. I think it's of Sunny when she was, like, really young. Aww. And this, like, banner, it looks like it's supposed to be Twilight Sparkle's cutie mark. And one of the more amusing things is, like, it's a boombox. Yeah, the younger generation probably won't recognize what this is, because, yeah, not only is this a boombox, but it's got a tape player in it, so... On this coffee table thing, there's kind of like, I don't know if it's supposed to be rice or it's just like a bowl with a stick in it, but yeah, it's like, if this is supposed to be rice, it's like, oh yeah, this is totally, you know, a single young adult. It's like, yeah, just leaving rice on the coffee table, so And then the final screenshot, we just kind of get to see, you know, sort of like the other perspective of like the work area and confirming that the tribute to her father is sitting in his work area over in that corner over there. It's actually been rearranged a little bit. Like a lot of the artifacts, like a map of the Equestria and all those things are no longer there. Maybe Sunny decided to move them somewhere else. Maybe she moved them to his room. So, an interesting notion. Maybe partially because, like, when she has ponies over, it's like, what is all that stuff? It's like, oh, this is ancient Equestria. This is a time when we were all friends. Oh, right. It might cause trouble. I must admit there wasn't too many massively exciting things here other than Grogar's bell. The horror. But even so, it was still kind of interesting to see, you know, how things have changed, you know, from when she was a little kid to what she is now. And definitely looking forward to coming back here, hopefully when it's a little bit more intact than when we last saw it. So, I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, thank you for commenting, liking, and subscribing, and until next time, this is Blue Star. Stay strong and pony on. Blue Star out.